trainings in peace building. We also do consultancy, and we also do webinars like these. And for the past 2 years, we have been doing online trainings, but before COVID-19, in-person trainings were done. And people used to love those, but also they now also love the online trainings. Our world has moved towards digital platforms. And so today we're going to be having a webinar focusing on, the topic is from goal setting to goal getting in peace building. And we are pleased to have one of the most trained leaders in, in so many aspects in finance and in leadership. And this man is Mr. Busani Ngwenya. He's from Zimbabwe, I believe. And he has done a lot of work in the Southern African region. And right now he's in Mozambique, doing some work also in leadership. So he'll be guiding us on leadership training within the peace building fraternity. I know there are a lot of peace builders here, as well as people from Christian ministries. He is also a Christian, a father, and a husband. Please welcome Mr. Busani Ngwenya. I hope we are all going to be educated, enlightened, and blessed. God bless you all. Mr. Busani, welcome.
Thank you, Frederick. I hope my screen is visible and my camera. 1 second. Okay, and my camera is also visible, so you can see my face. So thank you so much for this opportunity, for the privilege, really, to be able to participate and coordinate this webinar for the Africa Peace Institute. I really appreciate that honor and privilege. So I just want to start off by saying, as we engage and as we discuss the issues around goal setting to goal getting, we need to reflect and focus in the beginning. We need to reflect and focus where we are starting from, and that's what we are going to be doing. And as we are going through this, it's going to be an interactive session. So in case you have got comments, questions, the chat is always going to be open. We'll allow some Q&A at the end of the session, but feel free to be able to stop me and to be able to share your thoughts and views as and when we progress. So welcome. As Frederick says, I am a leader. I believe in goal setting. I believe in goal getting. I've been able to convert quite a number of my dreams to reality. And I've got this burning passion of really helping people achieve a lot of things in their lives, achieve their dreams, achieve their passions. So for me, it's really about how do I help you get a positive experience? How can I help you feel the difference with your life and with the ability to actually execute on the things that you want to execute on? So that's basically what I hope to achieve over slightly less than 2 hours now. So thank you so much for the time that you have taken to join. I want to start off by posing a question to you. And really, like I said, it really needs to be an engaging session. And I just want to get your thoughts. Why do you think people fail to achieve things in their lives? Why do you think people fail to lead their lives? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? If you have actually taken time to just reflect and say, there's so many people who are not able to fulfill their purpose. People are not able to fulfill their lives. Any thoughts, any ideas? Why do people struggle with this? This is an open, there's no right answer, there's no wrong answer. It's your thoughts. So what are your thoughts? The chat is open. The chat is open. We're going to be using a lot of the chat for us to be able to discuss. I see there's a hand there. Frederick, you want to say something?
Okay. Yes, just wanted to say one small thing. If you want to, like right now, Mr. Ngwenya is asking a question. If you want to type on the chat, please type on the chat. And then if you want to speak, raise your hand, like how I'm doing right now using the Zoom feature. Then you can unmute yourself. If you want us to see you, you can also do that. Feel free. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Frederick. So yeah, so why do people fail? So some answers are starting to come through. Self-defeating. There are people actually self-defeat, not planning well. There are some people actually struggle to plan, so they don't plan well. Lack of a good plan. That's true. They chase after too many goals and end up achieving none. If you run after 2, 3 animals, you are highly unlikely to catch any because people fail to have clear plans. That's good. No goal set. Don't want to risk. Lack of priority. No guidelines. Great. So thank you so much for all these correct suggestions that you have brought in. I just want to share with you my thoughts, okay? And they are not conclusive, it's not everything, but just to share with you what I think are some of the reasons from my perspective. The first one is not having God at the center of their lives. Not having God at the center of their lives. Now, there's something about being a Christian which anchors us. So in the midst of the storms of life, in the midst of life happening, there are a lot of things that happen. But just having God as an anchor, it helps. Just having God as the anchor, because we can see a lot of people, either because they've got too much money or because they don't have money or they've got power, they've got influence, they mess up their lives. And if you analyze, you just say, if only this person had God at the center of their lives. For me, that's the key one. In fact, if I look at my life and say, for the things that I've been able to achieve in my life, I think one of the key decisions that I've ever made in my life was to accept Christ. And based on that, just to have God at the center of my life has really gone a long way in terms of helping anchor me in the midst of all the things, all the temptations, all the trials and tribulations that I'm sure all of us go through. The other reason is not having no well-defined purpose. Okay, where someone hasn't taken time to actually define what their purpose is, not having done a self-SWOT analysis, just to understand, who am I? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are my opportunities? What are my threats? At times, the issue is really lack of ambition to exceed mediocrity. At times, wherever we are, whatever it is that the little that we have achieved, we can get comfortable with it. We can just be happy with the little that we have. Just be happy as a big fish in a small pond and not looking at an opportunity of, what about if I actually go to the sea? What about if I go to the ocean? At times, it's lack of self-discipline or persistence. We know that self-discipline is a skill that we need to learn. It's a skill that is like a muscle. We need to practice with it. So at times that's where the issue is. We also know that we live in an era of instant gratification, in an era where people want it and they want it now, the microwave era. So someone starts working today, they want to achieve things which people who have worked 30 years have achieved. They want to drive the same cars as their managers who have been employed for 20 years. They want to live in the same neighborhood. They want to be able to own the same things, instant gratification. And from those instant gratification attempts, we end up with a lot of debt. We end up with a lot of unethical behavior, instant gratification. At times, it's an issue of procrastination or indecision. You know you need to make a decision, but you don't get around to actually making the decision. You procrastinate, you wait for everything to be perfect. The Bible tells us that a farmer who waits for everything to be perfect will never plant. Procrastination, indecision. At times, it's just poor associates or network. We tell our children about peer pressure. We tell our children to be careful and to really drill it in them to be careful about their friends, people that they spend time with. Unfortunately, when we become adults, no one tells us the same thing. So we end up with, at times, with poor associates. We end up spending time with people who don't really add value in our lives in terms of our growth, in terms of us being able to achieve the success that we want to achieve in our lives, however success is defined. At times, it's an issue of fear, and fear is defined as fantasized experiences appearing real. And the reason why that is an acronym for fear is because almost everything that we fear never comes to pass. In fact, a lot of verses in the Bible actually tell us, fear not, fear not. But we also need to understand what is the role of fear in our lives. What is the role of fear in our lives? How can we use fear as a checkpoint to say, should I progress? Should I not? And if it's the right thing, how do I progress? How do I do it? Afraid. For some people, it's just poor habits. Poor habits. How can we learn the skill of actually having good habits? How can we uproot the bad habits that we have and build and nurture the good habits? So those are my views around why people fail in their lives. I don't know what your thoughts are. Do they resonate? Can you actually maybe just say which one is applicable in my life here? Which one is applicable in my life? Any ideas, thoughts you want to share? This is mine. This is mine. The chat is open. Let's share what you think. Which one is yours? Which one do you want to take ownership of right now? Procrastination. Others, your thoughts. Which is not even on that list. So maybe you might say, hey, for me, no. You just got it all wrong. None of these things apply to me. Yes, Frederick, which one is yours?
Yes, I'll say mine is lack of self-discipline. Usually in the issue of going to the gym, I'm always lacking discipline.
Lacking discipline to go to the gym. I hear
Yes.
you. I hear you. Okay, great. Thanks for that one. Procrastination, self-discipline. Great. So we're going to just spend some time to help you how to deal with some of the issues that we're going to discuss today around these problems that people have with their lives, the inability to actually progress with life. So just want to spend some time and look at that. But I haven't forgotten that we said it's about goal setting and goal getting. But we need to understand that goal setting is not the beginning. It's not the beginning. We need to start at the beginning. And you might ask, where do I start? Where do I start? What does the beginning look like? Now, Frederick was already talking about getting fit. Now, we are in the fourth month. We are almost finishing the fourth month of the year. And some of us are actually even thinking now, and you're like, did I actually have resolutions for this year? How am I doing with my resolutions? Now, this is a sample of someone's resolutions which have been circulating on internet. As you can see, they want to lose weight, they want to get fit, they want to give up alcohol, they want to stand up to their boss, they want to be nice to their wife, and they want to sort out junk in the shed. As you can see, year in, year out, there's a lot of deterioration that has happened. Over the years, some years they just cross out and start all over the following year. So the question is, what about you? What about you? Now, there's this cartoon which I liked a lot. It says, what exactly is a New Year's resolution? What exactly is a New Year's resolution? And it says, it's a to-do list for the first week of January. Just for the first week of January. What about you? Has it been a to-do list for the first week of January? Now, continuing with Frederick's idea about going to the gym. I've gone to the gym for many years. And the most inconveniencing time to go to the gym for us regular gym members is January. You go to the gym, January, the gyms are packed. First 2 weeks of January is packed. You can't find a machine, you can't find anything. It's packed. But we know that 90% of those people will be gone after 2 weeks. 90% of them will be gone after 2 weeks. Why? Why is it like that? We just lift the machines for the first day and then we're like, no. But could you be there and you're saying, I need help. I need help. How do I make my resolutions last more than the first week of January? How can I actually be sitting today in April and I'm like, you know what? The things that I said I wanted to do for this year, I am doing. I'm ticking all the boxes. What about that? So what does that look like? How about we break the chains of year in, year out, you are failing to move. Year in, year out, you are just like that guy. And it's getting worse. And it's getting worse. And it's getting worse. Now, Paul in Romans 7, verse 15 says, I do not understand what I do. For what I want to do, I do not do. But what I hate to do, I do. Do you ever feel like this? Do you ever get to this point of, you know what, the things I want to do, I don't do. The things I don't want to do, I do. And you are wondering, is there help? Is there hope for me? Especially because we know that 2 Timothy tells us that God gave us did not give us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and self. And self-control. Power, love, and self-control. Now, if God gave us the spirit of self-control, why are we struggling? Why are we finding ourselves in the same position as Paul? Is there a way that we can get help? Is there a way that we can get help? You might actually be wondering. So, back to our question, where do I start? Where do I start? Well, the beginning is a good place to start. The beginning is a good place to start. If you are looking at setting up your goals, you really want to start at the beginning. And what does that beginning look like? We go to the real beginning and say, why was I born? Why was I born? Why was I born? And as you reflect on that question, you just need to understand that you are not a biological accident. You are not a biological accident. Whether your parents think you were a biological accident or not, it really doesn't matter. You were born with a purpose. You were born with a purpose. All of us were born with a purpose. And whatever it is that we were born for, it will be finished. When Jesus had finished his mission, he said, it is finished. It is finished. And for each one of us who are going to get to that point of saying, it is finished. What will be finished for you? What will be finished for you? Or as X says, when David had served God's purposes in his own generation, he fell asleep. But now, if we say, when Musani had served God's purposes in his own generation, do I even know what are God's purposes in my own generation? Or as Jeremiah 1:5 says, before you were born, before you were formed in your mother's womb, God knew you, he set you apart. So no biological accidents. Before even we were born, before we were formed, God already knew and set us apart. For Jeremiah, he was appointed a prophet to the nation. What about you? What were you set apart for? What are these God's purposes that you have to fulfill in your generation? What is it that at the end of your life you can say, it is finished? It is finished. Mark Twain says, the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. We all know we celebrate the days when we are born, we have birthday after birthday, party after party. But what about the day you find out why? What is your purpose? What is your purpose? What is your mission? Nelson Mandela says, when a man has done what he considers to be his duty to his people and his country, he can rest in peace. When a man has done what he considers to be his duty to his people and his country, he can rest in peace. Have you done what you consider to be your duty to your people and your country, or your continent, or the world? And therefore, you can rest in peace. And you can sleep for eternity. Have you taken time to actually reflect on this? Have you taken time to actually be able to say, yes, I know why I was born. I know what my duty to my people and my country and my continent and the world is. So maybe you are thinking, I hear you, I hear what you are saying, Busani, but where do I find my purpose? Where do I find my purpose? That's a good question. Where do I find my purpose? Now, you find your purpose in the intersection of a number of things. There are a number of questions that we just need to ask. And as you reflect on these questions, as you allow these questions to simmer in your mind, therein you will find your purpose. If you are doing this exercise for the first time, or if you are starting to just spend some time reflecting on what really is your purpose, the result might not be as clear as someone who has taken years to go through their purpose and understood their purpose. Or you might say, my purpose is not one, there are 2 or 3, and it's okay. It's okay. This is about you. This question is about you. It's you reflecting on yourself. It's not even you listening to what I'm saying. It's about what you are saying to yourself even right now. What are you saying to yourself? What are you saying to yourself? Where do you find your purpose? So a number of questions to just help you be able to establish where to find your purpose. Where to find your purpose. A number of questions. 1, what do you want to be remembered for? What do you want to be remembered for? We all know that we are just passing through this earth. And the time is going to come when we'll be lying in something similar to this very nice, beautiful casket. Now, just picture yourself there. Picture your body there. And you are at the back in a church or at home or wherever you have your service. And people are standing up. This is the celebration of your life. Sounds nice, huh? We are celebrating Busani's life. So while they are celebrating my life, I'm at the back and I'm just hearing what they are saying about me. He was a good father. He was a good boss. He was a good servant. The church says he was a good member of what? Committee of what? He was a good, API says he was a good, what is the theme that we can expect to come through? So when everyone has stood up and said, when your spouse, your children, your parents, whoever, your neighbors, your friends, your colleagues, your boss, your subordinates, when everyone has finished saying, and someone needs to write the newspaper for the next day, and they just need to have a headline, 1 word, what will they say about you? Here lies a peacemaker? Will they say that? Here lies a what? What do you want to be remembered for? What do you want to be remembered for? Now, this is the time where you reflect and just write the first things that come into your mind. I want to be remembered for my being a peacekeeper. I want to be remembered for caring. I want to be remembered for fighting for the injustice. I want to be remembered for, what is that? What does that look like? What do you really want to be remembered for? What do you want to be remembered for? Number 2, what footprints do you want to leave? What footprints do you want to leave? I've got the privilege of living in Mozambique next to some beautiful beaches. Now, one thing that I know is when the tide is gone, we can walk on the beach, we can leave all sorts of footprints. But when the tide comes back, it's all gone. What about if we had footprints which were in concrete? What will those footprints actually look like? What will the footprints look like? These are footprints in concrete, things that are tangible, that people can really say, someone was here. Someone was here. And there's a reflection of your having been here. There's a footprint which remains. There is evidence that you were here. What evidence do you think we want to leave? Another question. What gives you the greatest joy? You know, the things that give you fulfillment, things that give you satisfaction, things that is intrinsic, it's in you, it's not external. You know, when I do this, I get the greatest joy. When I see a soul saved, I get the greatest joy. When I see a person healed, I get the greatest joy. When I see an orphan smiling, I get the greatest joy. What about you? What gives you the greatest joy? What gives you the greatest joy? Or what makes you cry? What are these things that you are so passionate about that they make you cry? What are the injustices that you see around that make you cry? What moves your heart? And we see evidence in your tears. What makes you cry? What makes you cry? You know, all of us might experience the same thing, but we react differently. Some of us might see orphans and widows, and we are not bothered. Some of us see street children, we are not bothered. Some of us see injustice being done at national level, at international level, we are not bothered. Some of us will tell you, you know what, I don't care what's happening to the politics of this nation. I'll always find private solutions to public problems. That's me. I'm not bothered about the politics. I'm always saying, whatever is happening in the politics, I don't care. I'll always find private solutions to public problems. What about you? There are some people who are like, no, son, that's totally wrong. We have to fight for justice. That's what makes them cry. They cry about corruption. They cry about this and that and that. Some people are like, whatever. It doesn't touch my heart. What makes you cry? What do people praise you for? What are you so good at that you know that people will praise you for it? It's not debatable. Okay, whether people realize it or not, they'll praise you for it. And you know in your heart, it's not about ego, it's not about pride. It's really about, I know that I'm good at this. I know it. No one needs to tell me. I know it. I feel it in me that I'm good at this. Okay. So when I'm operating in that area where I know that people will praise me, there's no doubt. Now, I know when it comes to speaking, when it comes to coaching, when it comes to leadership, people will praise me. I know it. That's me. I also know that if I'm given a mic and I'm asked to speak, people will praise me. But I also know if I'm given a mic and I am asked to sing, everyone will walk away. Everyone will walk away. No one will give me any praises for singing because I'm so horrible with singing. What about you? What do people praise you for? What do people praise you for? What can you do for free? What can you do for free? You know, when we say you are doing things for free, we are removing the financial benefit whatsoever. So you are saying, I don't care whether I am paid for this thing or not. I am willing to put my time, a finite resource, a resource which I can't get back. I'm willing to put my time for it. Oh yeah, it's free. What is it? What is that thing that you can say I can do for free? And for me, you give me this platform, you allow me to speak, I will speak. You allow me to build leaders, especially leaders within church, I will do it. I've spoken to hundreds, almost thousands now of leaders in church, just to build leaders in church. Because that one I can do for free. That one makes me cry when a leader, a church leader falls and the whole congregation is split into two. It makes me cry. Not the politics. I'm not bothered about what happens to the politics, but I can do it for free. What about you? What can you do for free? What can you do for free? What can you do for free? If you just spend time and reflect and say, this I can do for free. What are your hobbies? What are your hobbies? Hobbies are the things that we do during our own time. And these are not only done during our own time, they're done during our spare time. They're not only done during our spare time, we pay for our hobbies. We are willing to spend money to invest in our hobbies. We are willing to spend money and buy the best guitar. We are willing to spend money and buy the best golf kit. We are willing to spend time and buy whatever your hobby is. And you are willing. What are your hobbies? What are those things that you are willing to spend time on? You are willing to spend time on. I'm seeing a comment there that says audio gone. Please confirm that you can still hear me. It's just for that specific person. Please confirm, can you hear me? Hearing you well, thank you, okay, thank you. So we take it, it's just, thank you, hearing, great. So we take it, it's just a tech issue on their side, great, thank you. So what are your hobbies? what are your hobbies? Because you spend money on your hobbies. You spend money on your hobbies. What was your childhood dream? What was your childhood dream? I remember growing up in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe, in the rural areas. And people used to come, whenever a visitor used to come at that time, I don't know, it was fashionable. Whenever visitors came, they would always ask, what's your name? And my name is Busani. And then, what do you want to be when you grow up? That was their question. What do you want to be when you grow up? Now, when I grow up, I want to be a. What did you want to be when you grow up? When I grow up, I want to be a. What was it for you? When I grow up, I want to be a. Type it there. When you grow up, now you are grown, eh? But what did you want to be when you grow up? Thanks. I see a comment there from Boniface. Will the slides be shared? I'm sure the team will be able to respond on that, or potentially sharing a recording. Yes, thank you so much. A pilot. Okay, what about others? When you grow up, what did you want to be? Okay, it's interesting. The pilot now is doing IT and what? In API, eh? Yes, what about you? What did you want to be when you grow up? A lawyer. A lawyer. Are you a lawyer now? What did you want to be when you grow up? A teacher. A lawyer. A nurse. Then a musician. Then what did you want to be? For me, I used to say, when I grow up, I want to be a teacher. When I grow up, I want to be a teacher. For some reasons, my parents were never happy with that answer. It was unacceptable. They were like, no, teachers don't make enough money. You are too intelligent to be a teacher. What? All sorts of stories around that. But that was my passion. In fact, when I finished university, the first thing that I did immediately after finishing university and doing a degree in insurance, the first thing is I went back to the university to become a lecturer. And I was enjoying it. What about you? What about you? When I grow up, I want to be a pilot. When I grow up, I want to be a pilot or a journalist or a teacher. Great. So what was your childhood dream? And then what can you do effortlessly? What can you do effortlessly? You know, there are certain things that when you do, you really feel like I am working hard to do this. And then there are certain things, even if it's a big rock, you just move it effortlessly. For example, I really don't understand why amongst the biggest fears for people in the world, the fear of public speaking ranks top 1, top 2, top 3 fears for people in the world, public speaking. I simply can't relate with that, because for me, I can't understand how someone can fail to just open their mouth and speak. For me, it doesn't matter. It's 1 person, it's 10 people, it's 100 people, it's 1,000 people. I'm not bothered. I just open my mouth and speak. I do that effortlessly. But there are some people who they will refuse, they will freeze, they will say, no, that's just not me. And there are areas where I'm like that. If someone said you should be a medical person, I just can't stand the sight of blood. I'm just scared of blood. Whenever there's blood, I run away. So if I am to really help someone who has been injured, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of pain. It takes a lot of stress to actually be able to help someone who is bleeding. So I can't be a doctor effortlessly. It's just not in me. What about you? What can you do effortlessly? What can you do effortlessly? What can you do effortlessly? There are many things in life that will catch your eye, but only a few that will catch your heart. Pursue those. There are many things in life that will catch your eye, but only a few that will catch your heart. Pursue those. So it's important for us to really say, why was I born? As we look at those questions, we shall find our purpose there. Nelson Mandela says, what counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It's the difference that we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of our life. What counts is not the mere fact that we have lived, it's the difference. What difference are you making in people's lives? What difference are you making in people's lives? So when we have finished saying why you were born, don't say I was born to be rich for myself. If you say I was born to be rich so that I can use my finances to help humanity, then it's okay. Because your mission should focus on helping humanity or build others in one way or another. It's not about you and yourself. It's really about what impact am I making? My life should count. 1 Peter 4 says, as each one has received a special gift, employ it in serving one another as good stewards of the manifold grace of God. Now, number one, there is no doubt each one has received a special gift. Your role is to find out what is this special gift that I have received. Secondly, once you have identified, employ it in serving one another. In stewardship. We really need to understand that this is about stewardship, because it's by His grace that we got that gift. We never deserved it. So as I speak, as I coach, as I teach, as I train, I am very clear of one thing: it's a gift. And because it's a gift, I never earned it. But I have a responsibility to be a good steward of that gift. And stewardship is about how I use the gift to serve others, how I use the gift to serve you, because it is by His grace that I have got that gift. It is by His grace. Nelson Mandela also says, when a man has done what he considers to be his duty to his people and his country, he can rest in peace. Have you done that? Have you done that? Have you done what you consider to be your duty to your people and your country? Have you earned the right to sleep for eternity? Question. Are we there? Are we reflecting? Is it making sense? Checking in. How is it for you so far? Are we thinking? The chat is open. Let's hear your thoughts. Your thoughts, the chat is open. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Others? Amazing thoughts. Thank you. Others? Okay, of all the questions that you have asked, which ones do people that you have worked with resonate with the most? So it's an array of questions. And remember, all the questions want to answer one question. All the question wants to extract one answer. Okay. So all of them, they really want to extract one answer. So it's an array. So some of the aha moments you get when you ask specific questions. So for example, the question of joy and what brings you the greatest joy and what makes you cry. It depends on personality. Some people will say, I get joy when I serve. I get joy when I care for people. So if someone is going to answer you something which is positive, they usually pick that under joy. When it's about crying, they start by looking at the pain. So this is the pain that I believe I was brought to help. So it might be, I was born to care. But when you ask the issue about the pain, they will say, is this injustice? Okay. It's really the underprivileged. It's really the people that I see in conflict. It's the people that I see because they don't have access to medicine, or people don't have access to education, or. I'm thinking you are pushing me to deep reflections. That's the idea. Interesting. New knowledge. Great, great. Thanks. Yes, Frederick.
Yes, I'll prefer using this voice.
Yes. It's your gift.
Yeah. I
Yes.
hope so. So it's quite interesting, the things that you have said. So now, according to Mark Twain, he said, the day you find out why. That is the most difficult thing ever for any human being, to find out why. So how do we really find the real purpose in our lives? And is it also possible to find the wrong purpose? Those are the questions I have.
Hey, great. If it's wrong, it's not your purpose. So we can sum it up like that. Huh? If it's wrong, then it's not your purpose. But how can we find it? As you simmer, like one of the panelists said, as you simmer on these questions, as you spend time reflecting on them, like I said, it doesn't necessarily come as one answer. Okay, it's the process. So I remember for me, when I started this process, I was like, to be a teacher. But then with time, I was teaching at university, it was okay. And then I went to teach in some college, and I didn't like dealing with teenagers and things like that. My patience levels were really tested. I was like, no, this one's just not for me, okay? And then I then said, okay, it's about leaders. So instead of teaching, it's really about coaching leaders. So it's a process. It takes time. And as we work on it, we get additional insights and we get more clarity. So the issue is, from today, you just get the initial thoughts. And as you simmer and as you dig deeper on it, as you do coaching around it, then you are able to get help. The Bible says, write the vision and make it plain. Write the vision and make it plain. So when we have come up with the purpose, in the purpose or in the mission, we are just getting one word. Okay, I was born to be a leader. I was born to be a peacemaker. I was born to be, that's one word. Okay, as we saw, it's really about you have to be a prophet to the nation. That's it. Okay. But the vision is about what manifestation will be there. So by the time you are done with your peace making, what will be there? It will be the Africa Peace Institute. What will that institute have? What evidence will be there from that institute? How many people will it have impacted? So this is really time when you say, what are your dreams? What are your dreams? What are your dreams? Not the nightmares that you have while you are sleeping. These are the dreams that you dream while you are awake. What are your dreams? The Bible says, where there is no vision, the people perish. The Bible also says, where there is no vision, people cast off restraint. Do you cast off restraint? Do you have a vision? Anton says, if you don't know where you are going, you will never get there. If you don't know where you are going, you will never get there. Lewis says, if you don't know where you are going, any road will get you there. If you don't know where you are going, any road will get you there. Yogi says, if you don't know where you are going, when you get there, you will be lost. Have you seen people get lost because they didn't know where they were going? At the end, like what Frederick was saying, when you have actually achieved something, you realize this was not it. I spent my whole life working for something and it wasn't worth it, because you never decided what was worth it. So when you get there, you're lost. Miles says, when you know where you are going, you know which roads will not take you there. When you know where you are going, you know which roads will not take you there. You know which roads will not take you there. So are you clear on which roads are taking you where? Have you been intentional about this is the road? This is the road. Vision. Vision. We need to be very clear about the road that you are taking. You need to be very clear about focusing on your vision. This is what I need to do. So when we talk about vision, It's really about the tangible things that I will live on this earth in fulfillment of my mission. The tangible things that I will live on this earth in fulfillment of my calling, what I was born to do. I was born to be a teacher. These are the educational facilities that I'm going to live. These are the number of students that I will have trained. This is the impact that I will have had. What is it time to hope for? What is it time to hope for? What is it time to hope for? And yes, it's true that finding your purpose is a lifelong journey, no doubt, no doubt. It's the steps that we take. And like I said, you start off as a teacher, you find, hey, you know what? It's not just teaching, it's coaching. And as you work on coaching, you might even realize later on that it wasn't just about coaching everyone. It was just coaching these select people. But let's look at what is it time to hope for? What is it time to hope for? One of the principles that we look at when we look at coaching is not like counseling, where we look backwards and say, what happened? Who did this and who did that? So if you are in the peacemaking, you spend a lot of time really in counseling and trying to find out what happened so you can build peace. In coaching, we look forward. We say, what is it time to hope for? Whatever happened, we acknowledge what has happened, but we say, what is it time to hope for? So if you take time to actually reflect and say, in my life, for this year, for this season of my life, what is it time to hope for? What is it time to hope for? What dreams do I want to achieve? Now, we have already established the mission, we have established the vision, now we are getting to your goals. So we are anchoring the goals and we are saying, what dreams do I want to achieve? What dreams do I want to achieve? I remind you to fan into flame the gift of God which is in you. So the gift is already there. The gift is already there as your purpose. Now you need to bring it alight as you look at your vision. You need to bring it alight as you say, what is my purpose? Because dreams without goals are just dreams, and ultimately they fuel disappointment. Dreams without goals are just dreams, and ultimately they fuel disappointment. Is there a difference between dreams and goals? No. Those words in this session are used interchangeably. Between dreams and vision, no, those are used interchangeably. So the dream is the bigger picture. The dream is it is finished. It's the tangible things that you want to leave behind. The big project is the extent or the strategic 20, 50-year vision for API. Those are the dreams, those are the visions. The goals are the steps, how we'll get there. The steps, how we'll get there. How will we get there? Yes, we need to celebrate as we go on the way. So now, we get to the point now of saying, okay, we have already discussed the mission, we have already discussed the vision. Now let's look at how to set and achieve your goals. How to set and achieve your goals. Strange enough, a lot of people don't have goals. They just live their life, wake up, eat and sleep, wake up, eat and sleep, or wake up, go to work, eat, sleep, wake up, eat, go to work, eat, sleep. Now, I want to move from that and say, how to set and achieve goals? How can I set and achieve goals? But before we get to that, we really need to define what is a goal. What is a goal? It's anything that you or your organization desires to experience, to create, to get, to do, or to become. Now, it's about experiences. Now we are setting a lot of goals around experience. Okay, the memories. What do I want to experience? It's no longer about the things that I have. It's about the experiences that I want to have in my life. At times it's about creation. What do I want to create? What from my innovation? What is it that I want to bring to life? What ideas do I want to bring to life? At times it's what I want to get. I want to get a degree. I want to get a certificate. What do I want to do? I want to build a house. I want to build a six-pack. But more importantly, when it comes to goal setting, we want to say, what do you want to become? What do you want to become? There is power in answering that question. What do I want to become? What do I want to become? What identity do I want to have for myself? It's really about being intentional and consciously setting goals. Taking time and saying, these are my goals, I am setting them. It's about being intentional about creating the future you want, because no one else is going to create the future you want. In any case, they don't know the future you want. So have you taken time to say, this is the future that I want, and I'm creating that future? Goals help us look forward. So in the midst of storms, in the midst of challenges, in the midst of the stresses of life, the hardness of life, goals help us to look forward. So if you have got a goal, even as you go through challenges, you are like, if I anchor on my goal, I'll be able to be better motivated as I go through the challenges. Even as I'm suffering now, we've seen people that have gone through the most traumatic experiences in life. When you read a lot of their biographies, they will say they anchored their existence on some goal, on some desire, looking forward. Goals help us look forward. Now, there are two types of goals. There are performance goals. Performance goals are the tangible things. They are the things that you want to have. So, for example, a performance goal could be, I want to build a house. I want to build a house. That's a performance goal. It's a tangible goal. At the end of your project, we can actually touch the houses there. And then there are growth goals. Growth goals is about who you become as you build the house. Now, anyone who has ever built a house will tell you, by the time they finish building a house, they are a different individual than the person who started building the house. They've learned a lot of negotiating skills. They've learned a lot of technical things. They've learned a lot of things. In fact, if they are roofing, they know all the roof types that are there in the whole country. They know a lot of things. So it's the growth. So, for example, when people say, oh, for you to qualify for this job, you need to have 10 years experience. And people are like, 10 years experience for what? I remember when I was new, just graduated, I was like, why should I have 10 years experience? It's useless. I've got the best qualification and things like that. It's the growth that happens. It's the things that you can't touch, but you know. Just the same way that even as I was kicking and screaming, when I reflected on before going through my qualifications, the person that comes out at the end is a different person. It's not a certificate that you're holding, it's who you have become. That is the growth. That's why I said, when we are setting a goal, reflect on who am I becoming? Or reflect on what growth do I need in my life for me to be able to achieve this? I remember when I wanted to be promoted to a manager, I really sat down and looked at the adverts for managers and said, what is it that the adverts for managers say I should have, which I don't have? You need an MBA, you need this qualification, you need this qualification, you need this technical qualification, you need that. That is the growth. And then I say, although my performance goal is to become a manager, what growth am I actually investing into to actually be ready for that role? So growth is about how do I learn the skills of dealing with fear, of managing fear? How do I learn the skills of building the right habits? Because when someone has finished studying, has finished doing a PhD or whatever, they have learned good habits if they've passed. What about destroying the bad habits? Performance goals versus growth goals. Whenever you are setting a goal, always take time to reflect, and this is a performance goal. What is the growth goal that I need to be able to have? Now, there is the concept of the wheel of life. The wheel of life is really about us saying we don't want to have a goal in one area of your life. You want to have a holistic goal covering the whole of your life. And the whole of the life in this particular instance is split into 8 areas, the core areas. So what is my health goal? Or what are my health goals? If I was to rate myself on this wheel between a 0 and a 10, where will I rate my health? Am I a 9? Am I super fit? Or am I a 1? I'm having all sorts of chronic problems and things like that, and my health is really horrible. What about my church and community goal? How am I doing as a member of the church? Am I just warming the pews, or I'm an active member of the church? What about fun and recreation? How do I rate myself? Am I this boring person who is all about work, 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 and more work? Or do I take time to enjoy fun? Do I take time to have moments of fun and of building experiences, enjoying life? What about my finances? How am I doing financially? Am I in serious trouble, or I'm happy with where my finances are? Am I in debt, or I'm doing well? Am I lending? Or, as the Bible says, am I worse than an infidel? How do I rate myself? What about in my marriage and in my relationship? How am I doing? Have I sacrificed my marriage and relationship for my career, or for the church, or for my health, or for my personal development? How am I doing? What about for my business and career? How am I doing in my professional life? How will I rate myself? What about family and friends? Have I sacrificed those? Do I have a group of friends who I can trust? Friends who I know if I had any issue, they'll be there for me. Do we have those? What about my family? Have I taken time to build a strong family unit? Because when all is said and done, we are left with family. What about personal development? Have I taken time to invest in myself? Have I taken time to invest in coaching, in teaching, in learning, in growing, in mentorship? Plan the right goals. So as we are looking at goal setting, it's important to look at these areas in the wheel of life and already saying, this area, I think I'm great. For those areas where I'm struggling, this is where I need to build goals. Goal setting. Now, when we are setting goals, you might have heard the acronym, the goal needs to be SMART, or the goal needs to be smarter. So the goal needs to be specific. A lot of people assume that if you say the goal is specific, it's basic. No, it should be detailed. We should be able to know exactly what you are talking about. So if you say, next year I want to study a master's, that's not specific. That's not specific. Next year I want to be fit. That's not specific. I want to be a better wife, a better husband, a better parent. That's not specific. We need to make sure that it's very specific. You are very clear. So it's not just about you want to study this. It's I want to study it where, paying how much, starting when. So be more specific. And when we review a lot of goals, a lot of people just miss it here in terms of being specific. I want to get fit. It's not good enough. Your goal also needs to be measurable. In other words, we should measure where you are now, okay? Just have that honest conversation with yourself. Right now, I am broke. Have that honest conversation with yourself. Right now, I'm in debt. Have that honest conversation with yourself. Right now, my net assets are actually net liabilities of so much. Is measurable. And then I want to become a millionaire. I want to become a billionaire. I want to become a trillionaire if you are in Zimbabwe. So make it measurable. Make it measurable. So we know where you started from and where you are aiming for, and we can be checking along the way. Your goals must be achievable. Achievable. When we are saying a goal must be achievable, almost everything is achievable. But achievable is really about you. Do you believe that you can achieve that goal? Do you believe that you can achieve that goal? I'll give you an example. I'm a John Maxwell certified coach, trainer, and speaker. And we went to the US for a certification with John Maxwell. When we were there and he was speaking to us as the fresh graduates, he just said, write your salary down. So I wrote my salary down. He says, add a zero. Okay, so I added a zero. Let's say my salary was $1,000. And then I add a zero, it's like 10,000. He says, you can earn that. Okay, my head refused. He said, it's impossible, I can't. I can't. In my mind, it was not achievable. And a lot of people, when you tell them to add zeros in their salaries, they say it can't. When everyone had agreed that it's not achievable, his next question is, are there people who earn 10 times what you earn? Yes, they are there. So what's unachievable about it? But once you get to that point where you believe that is achievable, and strange enough, within like 4 or 5 years after that, it was not a zero, but it was like 5 times more than what I was earning. And I was like, this belief is important. Because when I was negotiating my next role, I was like, no, this is what I want. Okay, it's achievable. We also look at it being relevant. In other words, this goal that I'm working on, does it matter? This goal that I'm working on, does it matter in the big scheme of things? And when we say big scheme of things, we mean, does it matter in my mission? Does it matter in my vision? Is it worth struggling for? Is it time bound? Have I said I want to achieve this goal by this specific date? Not soon. I can't stand people who ask, when am I going to get this report? Are you going to get it soon or as soon as possible? As soon as possible tells me absolutely nothing. Because as soon as possible for me means now, in the next 1 minute. For you, it might mean next week. That's not good enough. Let's be time bound. At 1 o'clock or 5 o'clock or this particular time is time bound. Then I know at 1 minute past, I can follow up with you. Time bound. It also must be a stretch. You can't set a goal of breathing unless if you have COVID. But since then, we can't set goals of breathing. We can just breathe. So make sure that you put some effort in terms of achieving your goal. It's not easy, because once something is not easy, we're not going to be motivated. But we need to make sure that it's tough enough for us to still believe it's achievable. At times, companies, and I've been in sales quite a lot in my life, and people come up with unreasonable targets. So you're told, management decided that you were going to achieve 5 times what you achieved last year. You're like, in this market, you guys are not serious, you're joking. Now, it's unachievable. It's too much. But extending is about that sweet spot where it's a stretch, but the sales team still think they can give it a shot, they can go for it. And then it must be rewarding. It must be rewarding. Rewarding says it must be something which is fulfilling. It must be, it's fulfilling. It's fulfilling. So when I have achieved it, will I be able to say, wow, yes, smile, happy, great, well done? And when the goals are smarter, by the time you actually finish setting up smarter goals, it's already pulling you. The goal itself is pulling you to say, let's start, let's get moving with this thing. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. I just want to share with you 3 foundational principles for goal setting. 3 foundational principles for goal setting. Before I do that, I want to pause and check in with you. Are we great? Is it still making sense? Are you learning? Any questions? Great. In South Africa, we say now. Yeah, now, just now doesn't work. It's not good enough. Huh? Yeah, so great. Yes, it requires a mindset shift. That's true. That's true. Great. Any comments? How is it going for you? Is it making sense? Are you learning? Are you happy? Are you taking notes? Are you reflecting? How is it for you? Hey, you are too quiet. You are too quiet. You are too quiet. How is it for you? What did you say extending means? Okay, extending means is stretching. It means stretching. It means you are going beyond the normal. So you need to have that sweet spot between it's easy and it's a bit of a stretch. It's a bit of a stretch. So that's what extending means. That's what we're looking at when we look at extending. So now we want to look at 3 foundational principles for goal setting, 3 foundational principles for goal setting. Number 1, values drive goals. Values drive goals. So when we set goals, we should set goals which are value-based. In other words, set goals of things that you value. That's why we went to look at your mission and your vision. Because if you value freedom and you set goals aligned with freedom, if you value financial independence and you set goals aligned with financial independence, if you value security and you set goals which are aligned with security, you are more likely to achieve them. So when you have got value-based goals, they are fulfilling because they are aligned with your values. Motivation drives perseverance. Motivation drives perseverance, especially intrinsic. In other words, goal getting is not an event. Goal getting takes time, it takes pushing, it takes effort, and motivation is overrated. Motivation is not enough. But if we are not motivated, you will fail to persevere. If you are not motivated, you will fail to persevere. When the rubber hits the road, you will need that motivation, especially if it's intrinsic. In other words, people can pay you money, they can clap for you, they can do all sorts of things externally. But if you have this motivation in you, if it's something which is aligned with who you are, who God called you for, and then it's easier for you to be motivated. It's easier for you to persevere in the midst of all these storms, in the midst of everything that is going on. And thirdly, hope creates goals, authentic goals. Hope creates goals, authentic goals. I'm an insurance person. When we are selling insurance products, one of the things that we do is, instead of saying this is an investment product or what, we give that product a name. Either we call it a goal achiever account, we call it a retirement account, we call it a own your own roof account, we give it an educate your child account, we give it names. Because when people have got specific hope, and then it drives the right behavior. In fact, a story is told of an organization which was really concerned about prostitutes, helping people get out of prostitution. And they were struggling with how are we going to make people get out of prostitution? And one of the things that they decided was to just spend time with the prostitutes and ask them a simple question: what are you hoping for? What are you hoping for? Now, when they ask them the question, what are you hoping for? No one hopes for the next dollar from the next client and things like that. I'm hoping for a roof over my head. I'm hoping to be able to send my children to school. I am hoping the real authentic goals come out. And then you anchor behavior on those. We can help you. Okay, we can help you. We can teach you skills of how to survive outside prostitution. We can teach you skills of how to make money. We can do this, but it's anchored on hope. So if you're able to get to someone who is in problems, or someone who is facing challenges, and you're able to say, oh, what are you hoping for? You are moving someone from their current situation. They stop thinking about their current circumstances. They look forward. What is it time to hope for? What is it time to hope for? And when we get to that point, what is it time to hope for? The answers that come out, they are authentic goals. They are authentic goals. So for you, what is it time to hope for? What is it time to hope for? Now, there are 6 building blocks to goal setting. 6 building blocks to goal setting. Number 1 is self-confidence or belief. The belief that I can. The belief that I can. Now, we've already discussed that if you don't believe that you can add a 0 on your salary and earn that, then you lack that self-confidence, and then it's not going to happen. So it's important for us to have that belief. And for us to understand that this principle of this belief is to really get to a point of saying, you know what, you don't need to set a big goal. That's why there are books like Atomic Habits, which are like, just set a small goal. You might not believe that you can run the marathon. if all that you have been doing is just running your bill with eating junk food. Okay. Now, but for you to actually start, you can say, I believe I can walk around the block. I believe. Even in my current level of unfitness, I believe. And then as you work on your belief, you can improve your goals. So now that I can walk around the block, maybe I can walk around the block twice, maybe I can do half a kilometer. And then soon you are actually running oceans or you are running marathons across the world. It's the belief. I believe I can. So if you are going to set a goal, ask yourself, do I believe that I can? Do I believe that I can? The next building block is specificity. Specificity. We have already said when your goals are specific, they stimulate action. When your goals are specific, you start seeing things that you don't normally see. So for example, if you decide that you want to buy a Roam or whatever, a Toyota car, specific Toyota Prado, okay. The minute you decide that I want to buy a Toyota Prado, all your roads you will suddenly be seeing Toyota Prados because you have become specific. Now you start attracting those things because now you are conscious about them. It's like if people enter homes and things like that, no one ever looks at people's roofs, okay, or ceilings. So when you are there and you are visiting me, you never look at my ceiling. But if you are in the stage of putting a ceiling in your house, you will see all the ceilings of all the houses that you go to. It's specificity because you are very clear. This is what I want to do, so I will be able to what? To see it. Specificity. So the more specific you are, I want to send my children to school in this country. Even if that country is having troubles, you pick it. All the news related to that country, you will pick it. The third building block is flow. Flow basically simply means stretching without breaking. In other words, is it attainable? One of the key things that I want to highlight about flow is this aligned with my skill set? So when you are coming up with goals, just ask yourself, is this goal aligned with my skill set? In other words, is it achievable given the skills that I have? Is it achievable given the skills that I have? Some of the goals you might say, you know what, I simply don't have the skill for that. I want to be an accountant, but I don't have accounting skill. So it's unattainable at that point. But obviously you can study and build that skill set. The fourth one is training and experience. Have I taken time to look at my learning gaps? Have I taken time to look at the growth that we spoke about? Have I taken time to focus on the skills development that I need to build? So what training and experience do I need to add? If I want to have this as my next role, what is the training that I need to invest in? What is the experience that I need to build for me to be able to achieve this goal? So what is lacking? What are the things that I currently don't have, which I need to invest in? Building block number 5 is commitment. Commitment. Do I have the time to be able to do this? Do I have the money to be able to do this? Do I have the support from people that matter the most for me to be able to do this? If you say you want to study a PhD and your spouse is against it, you know that you don't have support. If you say you want to wake up and run at 5 a.m. and your spouse is not supportive, you will struggle. What about the fears? Have I learned the skill of dealing with fear? What about the distractions in my life? What about the new habits that I need to build? Am I committed to build those habits? Am I committed to destroy those distractions? What about my feedback system? Have I created the necessary accountability? Do I have an accountability partner? Do I have a tracking mechanism? Do I have a scoreboard to see how I'm doing as I'm working on this? Can I actually see what progress I'm making? And am I giving myself feedback? Am I giving myself feedback? A goal properly set is halfway reached. Abraham Lincoln. A goal properly set is halfway reached. And one of the key principles of setting goals is writing it down. Write it down. Pause. Check in. Pause. Check in. Are we there? Are we there? Any thoughts, reflections?
Mr. Ngwenya, there was a question I think, I'm not sure if it was picked up.
Yes, so what was the question, please?
Brian Martin is asking a question on the three principles. Was asking, do these three principles work in a particular sequence?
Okay, no. Those principles work in any sequence. Thanks for that. Great, thank you.
Hello.
Okay, yes.
Yes, there's a moment when you spoke about the issue of having skills, certain skills that will also ensure that you are able to attain your goals. But what's your take about hiring? Someone can have an idea, but yet someone can have an idea and maybe resources and lack on a certain skill. So what's your take in terms of that same person hiring someone with the skill that is needed? Is it a healthy thing to do or not?
It is. We can't have the skills for everything. Huh? We can't, it's impossible. So some skills we just have to outsource. It's just the reality. Yes, thanks for that.
Okay,
so as we get, thank you. As we get towards the end, now that we have looked at how to set goals, the next thing that we want to look at is how to execute on the goals, Now, this is the book. It's a highly recommended book. If you can find this book, it's great. It's called Achieving Your Widely Important Goals, the 4 Disciplines of Execution. So if you can find it, that would be great. Now, this book has got reasons why people fail to achieve their goals. 4 reasons. 1, when people don't know the goal. 2, when people don't know what to do to achieve the goal. 3, when people don't keep score. And 4, when people are not held accountable. So we just want to look at the 4 and be able to really help you through understand how you can execute on your goals. And maybe your question is, what is execution? Execution is the discipline of getting the most important thing done. It's the discipline of getting the most important thing done. Because a strategy, even a great one, does not implement itself. So once you have come up with your goals, you need to implement. In fact, Marx says, vision is nothing without execution. Vision is nothing without execution. So you need to move your goals to execution. We need to execute on your goals. So we've said there are 4 disciplines. The first discipline says, focus on the widely important goal, because the enemy of great is good. So in other words, you need to find out what is the most important thing that I need to focus on. Because highly effective individuals are totally clear on what their most important goals are, on what their widely important goals are. Now, how do you do that? You need to spend time and look at your mission, you look at your vision, you look at your wheel of life, and then you structure SMART goals from there. As I said, your goal needs to have a measure from X to Y by when. So from January to December, from 10 kgs to 7 kgs, or from 90 kgs to 45 kgs. That's what the weight that I want to lose. And then it must begin with a verb, a doing word, I want to. Keep it simple and focus on what, not the how. That's the first discipline. The second discipline of execution is act on the critical few. In other words, don't try and do 100 things. Okay. At times, people crash themselves because they've got too many goals. So just be intentional. These are the goals that I'm going to focus on. I'm not going to focus on everything. I'll be intentional. This is what I am going to focus on. So those are the critical few. Is an 80-20 rule. It's called the Pareto principle. So highly effective individuals invest their energies in few activities that give them the greatest impact on their widely important goals. So, for example, if someone wants to look at exercising or losing weight, if your goal is losing weight, there are 2 or 3 things that you need to do for you to lose weight. 2 or 3 things that you need to do. So what do you think you need to do? If you want to lose weight, what should you do? The chat is open. What do you need to do to lose weight? What do you need to do to lose weight? The chat is open. Hey, is there anyone who wants to lose weight? Yes, go to the gym, exercise, exercise, have a diet plan. Good. What do you think is the third one? Watch your diet. The third one. What's the third 3 thing that you need to do other than your calories intake and calories outtake? No, not sleeping. Not well, consistency. Now, research shows that the third thing that you need to do for you to lose weight, if you are on a weight loss program, the third most important thing to do, other than watching your calories in, calories out, is to have an accountability buddy. In other words, have someone that you run with or have someone that you exercise with. When you have got that accountability person, it significantly increases your results. It significantly increases your ability to achieve. So the question that you should then be asking yourself is, what few behaviors will give you the greatest change? In this particular goal that I want to work on, what are the few things that I need to work on? So if, for example, I say, I want to improve my marriage, I need to go to my wife and say, okay, for me to be a better husband, give me 2 things that I need to do, or 3, that's it, which will give the highest return. Because otherwise I can think buying a chocolates will make me a better husband. She doesn't even care about chocolates. Or buying a flowers, she doesn't want flowers. So what are the 2 things that will give me the highest return? James Clear says, we do not rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. In that book, which I highlighted, Atomic Habits, you do not rise to the level of your goal, you fall to the level of your systems. So what that means is when you have a goal, you need to have systems of the things that you are going to do to build a good habit and to break a good habit. Because those habits are the ones which are going to determine whether we achieve our goals. So I've come up with an example of some some goal there for you, just for your reflection and for your thought, how to set good goals. So we'll look at the first one. A normal goal, I want to reduce my weight from 92 kgs to 80 kgs by 31st of December. What are the 3 things that I need to do, which are smarter? 1, I need to work out every day, 30 minutes, or every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 6 to 6:30. I'll run 20 kilometers every Sunday from 5 to 8. I'll stop eating chocolates. I'll stop eating sweets. I'll stop eating shima. I'll stop eating whatever it is. So that's how you can structure your goals. That's how you can actually plan your goals and then execute from there. So that's an example of properly set goals. So if when you look at your goals and if you're able to structure your goals with this kind of detail, if you are able to structure your goals in this particular theory or in this particular approach, then it will go a long way in terms of helping you with that. So very important for us to set those clear goals. The third discipline that we want to look at is keeping a compelling personal scoreboard. In other words, you want to know whether you are winning or you are losing. You want to know whether you are winning or you are losing, because highly effective individuals know at every moment if they are winning or if they are losing. So you need to know, am I winning or am I losing? How do you do that? You create a scoreboard. It's like if you go and watch a football match and you are late, you find the match is already there. You look at the screen to see who is winning, the screen is off. And you ask the people sitting next to you, who is winning, we don't know. And then all of a sudden you lose interest in that game. So it's important for us even to actually have this criteria to say, okay, how can I measure? So have a scoreboard. The scoreboard should be simple, it should be visible to you, it should tell you immediately if you are losing or if you are winning. And it should focus both on the lead measures and also on the lag measures. So if say the lead measures are the overall results, I want to lose weight. The lag measures are what are the things that I need to do for me to be able to lose that weight. So very important for us to do that. And then a scoreboard can be anything like a design like that, which can show you, am I winning or losing? Or it can just be simple tracking, just putting different font colors and saying, okay, I said I want to lose from 90 to 80. By end of Jan, I was at 89. By end of Feb, I was 88. So I'm doing well, I'm on track. I said I wanted to exercise on the 3rd, I exercised. On the 5th, I exercised. On the 7th, I exercised. I also said I want to run. Oh, I didn't run because I don't have running shoes. So it's important for us to be able to what? To have that and be able to track how we are progressing on our goals. The fourth discipline is what is called creating a cadence of accountability or creating a rhythm of accountability. Because where there is no accountability, there is no commitment. Where there is no accountability, there is no commitment. And how do you create that? By understanding, as Steve Covey says, that the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule. The key is to schedule your priorities. Have I taken time to put in my diary the priorities? Have I taken time to put in my diary the things that I really want to do? Have I taken time to actually schedule my commitments? To schedule my commitments. Tony says, if you talk about it, it's a dream. If you envision it, it's possible. But if you schedule it, it's real. If you talk about it, it's a dream. If you envision it, it's possible. But if you schedule it, it's real. Bob says accountability is the glue that ties commitment to results. It's the glue that ties commitment to results. Yes, Frederick, I see your hand there.
Yes, Mr. Ngwenya, I just wanted to let you know that we have gone past time. However, people may feel free to leave or stay since we're still going on.
Okay, no, that's fine. We're concluding now.
Okay.
We are concluding now. Eh? Okay. Thank you. All right, so those are the 4 areas that I wanted to look at when it comes to execution. Say, we really need to understand that setting goals is one thing. Actually getting to the point where we have achieved those goals is what? Is also important. So it's important for us to reflect and say, if I looked at these 4 disciplines and if I applied these 4 disciplines and been able to achieve what I really set myself to achieve. So that's really what I wanted us to focus on now. And happy for us to close here and hand over back to you, Frederick. Thanks.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ngwenya. That was quite interesting. I managed to catch a lot of things, and you made me ask myself a lot of questions. Am I doing something right? Or where am I getting at? And I believe a lot of the participants here are also asking themselves a lot of questions. But maybe we can take 1 or 2 questions before we end the webinar. Just 1 or 2 questions. Anyone who has a pressing question that they want to ask, please go ahead.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? Yes, there's a hand, and so I'll take a question from Temba and Kevin.
Yeah,
so I'll start with Temba. Yeah. Temba, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, I'm just wondering how, looking at some of us as peace practitioners, looking at this presentation and trying to link it or connect it to our peace work. So maybe I just want to be assisted in how we link this kind of presentation of goal setting and a lot of these things that were being discussed to issues of peace. I don't know whether my question is clear.
Yes, I think Mr. Ngwenya will go ahead.
I'm done.
And answer that question.
Okay, I got the question. I thought it was more of an internal question, like, okay, what can we do internally now that we have reflected on this? What can we do internally as peace builders? And now I've shared with you the skills and how can we apply them? Maybe in our strategic sessions or primarily in our strategic sessions and also in our own roles, because at times we wait for other people to actually come up with the solutions and suggestions for us. But what about what can I do in my own role? And how can we introduce the culture of actually setting goals within API and being able to drive those? So I think that would be, for me, that is the question, or that's how I'll interpret the question. How can we then, as API, be able to then progress with this conversation and apply it and execute on it? Thanks.
And then a question from Kevin.
My question was also similar to what Themba asked, but I'll frame it differently. Can we say an organization is late in planning its goals, maybe in peace building, if it's already 2 years or 3 years in a particular program, or there's no time frame? Can you start setting goals even if you've started a program, or you need to be decisive before you start a program and say, I'm planning this and I'm setting this goal? Sometimes you realize 3 years into the program and you haven't really set a clear goal. So should you go back to the drawing board? I hope my question is also clear.
Yes, it is. Thanks. There is a Chinese proverb which says, the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The next best time is now. So it's like, what can we do now with the knowledge that we have, both at institutional level and also at personal level? So no harm in starting at any point. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ngwenya, and everyone who has attended. Maybe just one or two questions from the chat is saying, Mr. Ngwenya, when you're setting your goals, do you write them down? Do you tell a colleague? What can you say on that?
I write them down. I've been writing my goals down for over 20 years. And one of the nice things is to actually see me ticking them off. And I've done a good job of that. So very proud of myself. Thanks. So yes, write them down. If you don't write them down, chances of you achieving them are very slim. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone. May we take this knowledge and use it in our own lives and in our own organizations. Hopefully, we will do another webinar, probably with Mr. Ngwenya again. You never know. So, and the recording will be shared to everyone who registered. You'll be able to receive this webinar. There are some people, Mr. Ngwenya, want to know whether you do this all the time or you have a YouTube channel. Yeah, I don't know, maybe you can answer that one.
Thank you. We do this almost all the time, not daily, but a lot. So on the chat there, or on the screen, I put in the email address and the phone number. Zimbabwean contacts, they are there. So if you need any help, if you want to take this to the next level, or if you just want to be put in the distribution list for the next webinars, please do. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yes. This is the end of our webinar. Until we meet again next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.